Hi guys, it's SimLicy here, so welcome to another speed build. So today I am building another modern style house, but this one is more of like an ultra modern house, which is a style I hardly ever do. I've done it a few times before, but it's always a style that really intimidates me. I never think I can like execute it properly, but this time I really think I did, and I think it's just a really unique home and I really like it. So I'm hoping that you guys are going to like it too. I'm also using custom content by my son, which I will have linked in the description, and I'll talk about that more here in just a moment. But before we get into all of that, I do want to thank the sponsor of today's video, which is NordVPN. NordVPN is a VPN service that keeps users safe while browsing online, anywhere, anytime, and on all devices. There's over 5,200 servers in 60 countries. You can find a server near you for faster internet speed, or if you're like on vacation, you can find more content so you don't have to miss out on your like favorite shows while you're traveling, which is awesome. It only takes one click to open the map, mark your location, and then you can be connected within just seconds, so it's super easy. You can find streaming services at lower prices, or if one's not available in your country, you can simply change your location. Or if a game isn't available in your country, then that's no problem too. You can just, again, change your location. So it's super simple. You can also find discounts on games that are available in other regions. So you don't have to let your location limit like your gaming and your streaming options. So I think that's super cool. NordVPN also offers protection from bandwidth throttling. It encrypts all of your traffic, so your internet service provider cannot slow down your streaming speed. So go to nordvpn.com/SimLicy for an exclusive deal. It's risk-free with Nord's 30-day money back guarantee. Thank you again so much to NordVPN for sponsoring today's video. So here you can see I am working on this like custom window piece. I thought this was really pretty and it was really unique looking, or at least I was trying to make it look that way. I don't know, I always struggle with this like type of modern house. That's why I never do them, because I'm not exactly sure how to make them feel like balanced and interesting looking and not too blocky or symmetrical, or I don't know. I just like am not exactly sure like how to approach them, but I think I did a good job here, and I really tried just to make it look interesting and unique, and I really think it does. It feels like no other build that I've done before. I've done a couple modern houses that are this modern, but I don't think it looks like any of them. So yeah, I'm very excited to hear what you guys have to say about it. And like I was saying, I am using custom content by my son, so I will have all of her information linked in the description box so you guys can download all of her CC as well. I basically just went to her Patreon page and I downloaded all of the packs that she has available, and I am very pleased with her custom content. I've really been enjoying it recently. I've created 2 apartments. If you guys haven't seen those, I highly recommend them. And this one, I wasn't planning on using her CC again so soon. I was planning on showcasing probably somebody else, but she released a pack called Dawn Living like right after I finished the last apartment, and so I had no choice but to download that pack immediately and do a build with it, and it just really inspired me to do something very modern like this build. And so I highly recommend that pack. You will see mostly the items in the living area. I mean, I use them throughout the entire build, but the couches that came with that set are so cool and so unique, and I really like them a lot. So yeah, anyways, here you can see I'm placing some cars in the driveway. I'm also using some flooring to create some pathways to the garage and the front of the house. Right now I have 2 different colors, but I don't end up leaving it this way. I don't know if I should have changed it back. At one point I accidentally changed like the level or like the height of the house somehow, and it messed with the like the terrain. I don't know exactly what I did. You might notice it at some point in the build, but it like got rid of a lot of the flooring that I was placing, and that was part of it, and so I never replaced it again. But looking back, it's kind of cool looking. I don't know, let me know. It's an easy thing to fix if you guys decide to download this. You could easily switch up the flooring to a different one, or, you know, do the 2-toned like I was doing here originally. But something I also wanted to mention, at one point when I was doing a CC build like this one, some of you guys were mentioning that on the gallery for console players, they can't even see CC builds. And so I wasn't aware of this. I thought you could still see them. You just couldn't obviously get the custom content because that's not available on console, but you can't even find the builds that are CC. And so I think that is extremely tragic. And so what I'm going to do with this one, since the entire exterior is not custom content, like all the doors and windows and wallpapers and everything. There's no CC used. It's only the decorations. I'm going to upload it as unfurnished so you guys can still have the build if you would like to, and then you'll just have to furnish it yourselves. So hopefully that's helpful, because I really think that you guys should still be able to find the builds. Even if you can't have the custom content, there should just be like a little, like, you know, a disclaimer when you go to place the build that the items will be missing. I mean, I think that that would be possible. I think they should do it that way. That way you could at least furnish it the way you want to, and you could have like the shell instead of trying to copy it or recreate it, because that could be probably time consuming. I don't know. Maybe some of you guys like to do that, but I don't know. I'll have it available anyways as a shell on the gallery. That'll be like just the wallpapers, the windows, the landscaping too. None of that is custom content. It's just the items, just the decorations. So yeah, anyways, here you can see I'm moving on to the back of the build. I had no idea what to do with the back of the build, and so I tried to mirror some of the front of the build, but I didn't want it to be like an exact mirror of the front of the build, so I made some interesting like pop out pieces. I tried doing like different levels with the roofing. Really, platform tools, or the platform tool rather, is a really huge benefit, I think, when creating these modern houses, because we've always had the half walls. Before an update, I think the Snowy Escape update, the same time we got the platforms, we only had like a select few height levels for the half walls, and so it wasn't as customizable as it is now, but those were always really useful for creating modern shapes. But now that we have the platform tool, it's very, very useful, and so I tried to utilize it as much as possible, and so I think I did a good job here. Also in the backyard, I'm adding a swimming pool, which I think is pretty necessary for a build like this, because it definitely makes it feel more fancy and luxurious, and that's the look that I was going for. I also create a waterfall, which I think adds to that more fancy feeling and look. I use some rocks in the debug menu, and I also use some fountains to create a waterfall. You won't see that here in build mode, because for whatever reason you can't see the water flowing in build mode anymore. I thought that you used to be able to, like, it wouldn't actively like have the animation, but you could see the water and the direction that it would go in. Maybe I'm imagining things. Maybe that used to never be the case, but I could have swore that it was, and it's not anymore. I don't know, correct me if I'm wrong, but anyways, in live mode, before I took the screenshots, I did make sure to find some fountains that would work and create the waterfall look that I was going for. And I think it looks really cool, and I really do like it. I also place a couple of lounge chairs back here, as well as like an umbrella for shade. And then I think there's like an outdoor dining area, and then a few planter boxes. It's quite simple, but I feel like for a build like this, it needs to be. Like, I felt like having a bunch of activities in the backyard would just look out of place and kind of messy, and so I definitely didn't want that to happen. And there's not a family living here, it's just a couple, like a very successful couple, and so children toys weren't necessary and those sorts of things. But there's definitely room if you would like to, if you see this more as like a family home, or if you have like a family in mind for it. There's a like a home studio, like an artist studio, that could easily be turned into a bedroom. There's also an office space. It's open the way I built it, but you could easily close it off to be another bedroom if you would like to. The master bedroom is downstairs, and then there's also a closed off garage space. And I mean, a garage can always be turned into a bedroom if you need you need more space. But I wanted to decorate it like a garage, so that's what I did. And yeah, I basically just tried to make it feel nice and open and airy and really modern. So not a lot of clutter and not a lot of just extra busy stuff like I would normally do in like a family home. I do have a build coming up though that is very family oriented, so if you guys are looking for something more like that, I will have it on the channel very, very soon. But yeah, there I just placed the couches in the living area from the Dawn Living set. I'm obsessed with them. I love the colors. I placed them here just in their like default color, which I think is gray, but the color that I end up using is more of like a tealy color, and I think it's so pretty. And I don't know, I was so excited when I saw that it was called Dawn Living. In case you guys didn't know, that's my name. And so I was like, oh, it's the pack for me, I have to download it. I was really excited. But yeah, here in the back of the build, I wanted to create sort of like a custom like open door. And so what I ended up doing was using the tool mod to scale down a door, and then I used a couple of windows to look like they had been pulled open. So they're supposed to look more like sliding doors or folding doors. instead of windows. So hopefully it looks like that. Unfortunately, the way the game works, the lighting is a little bit weird. It's not very consistent between the outside to the inside. So they don't look like they're the same color of window from the inside, but from the outside, you can tell that they are. And so it's not perfect. If you guys don't like it, you can still see the original door. It's very, very tiny. You just have to look closely. Of course, you could just turn off move objects and delete the wall where those windows are, and then everything will delete, including the door that I shrunk. So if you can't find it, if it's too small for you to see, then you can find it that way. So it's totally possible, and then you could just put like a sliding glass door there, or a door that you prefer better, something like that. But I like the way it looked. And also another thing that I thought was a little bit weird, if you're looking at the house from the backyard, that's where I ended up putting the dining table, and for some reason the dining chairs like are invisible. And so it has something to do with scaling down that door. So it's not perfect, but it's something I wanted to try. So yeah, it's not perfect though. But anyways, here I realized that I needed more space, and so I am moving the house just like over a little bit, just making it a little bit wider by like one tile. And so it doesn't change the overall look of the house too much. It just kind of makes the house a little bit bigger and adds like a couple more windows and stuff. And so yeah, I thought this was pretty necessary for creating enough space for like the dining area and the stairs, because I was kind of struggling with where to place the stairs, and also how I was going to like organize the furniture in general, because I was really trying to keep the living area mostly open. And so here I'm playing around with the idea of maybe having the living area by that door that I created, but that's where I have the dining table like I mentioned. And then on the second floor, that's where the office area is, as well as the home studio, because the family that I imagine living here is just a couple that is very successful. I don't imagine that they have any plans on ever having children. Of course, if you guys decide to download this and you play with the household that I have in mind, that can change, but I saw them more as just like really enjoying their careers, each other, and they don't see children in the future. Maybe an accident will happen and they'll have to change their plans. That's totally possible too. But yeah, I don't know. I did consider though making a nursery, because my Shino son does have a really adorable nursery set that has a crib. There's also a toddler bed and really cute decorations and stuff that goes along with that. But I did do that in the last apartment that I did. So if you guys are looking for something using this CC that's more family oriented, then I highly recommend checking out that one. But yeah, here I'm still struggling with how to set up the furniture. I did not know. I'm really bad at creating open floor plans. I think it ends up being like half open. I think I have like a half wall that kind of, or not a half wall, but half of the room has a wall that I like kind of sectioned off to create a little bit of like separation of space, because I do like some separation, but I do like it to be mostly open. Even in traditional homes, I tend to use archways and things like that to create more of an open feel, but still kind of closing things off. But yeah, one of the main reasons that I didn't end up putting the living room over there is because I wanted to use that really long TV stand. I've been wanting to use it recently, but up until this point, I have only used her custom content in apartments, and so I haven't had enough space to use it. And so here I had plenty of space, and so it worked perfectly over there, because I usually try to avoid putting dining tables like so close to an entryway. I don't really have a good reason for this besides it feels unrealistic to me. I guess I haven't been in many homes where you immediately walk into the dining room when you go into a house, and so I usually try to avoid that when creating my own floor plans in The Sims, but every once in a while the floor plans work out that way, and I'm never too disappointed with the outcome. And actually the view from the entryway to the backyard, like the swimming pool, is like the prettiest view ever. But yeah, so it ended up working out pretty well. But anyways, here I'm using the rocks like I was talking about, and then I went to go place the fountains and then quickly realized that I couldn't see the water in them, so there was no point to it. But yeah, I placed a diving board, a pool ladder, and then I was kind of just trying to figure out what else I was going to place back here. And so I had no idea how I was going to like add decorations or the landscaping, and so I do that more towards the end of the video. And I still had like no idea how I was going to approach the landscaping, because I wasn't sure how to make it feel appropriate for the build, because usually I do things that are quite like lush and overgrown, and for this one it didn't seem too appropriate. It's more lush and overgrown than I imagined it to be, or that I was planning on doing, but I don't know. I think I made it work. It's definitely not what I imagined, like I was saying, but I think it looks good, and I think it still feels like a modern landscaping, but I didn't use like the very trimmed hedges or like the most like put together bushes, if that makes sense. And so I don't know, you guys will have to let me know what you think. But anyways, here I'm moving on to the interior. Like I was saying, I started to do the landscaping, but it wasn't going anywhere very good. So yeah, just save that to the last moment. But I changed the color of the couches to this more tealy color. And I think this color is so pretty, and it really like spurred on the entire color scheme for the build. Here I'm struggling with these palm trees. I created sort of like a built-in planter using the platform tools, and those trees were kind of poking through the wall, and so I struggled placing them, but I think I made it work. And yeah, the first room that I decorate is the living area. I ended up doing some custom curtains throughout the entire build. You'll see me place them, I believe, by the dining table first. Right now I have these curtains. These ones came from City Living. I liked them, but they weren't like the rods weren't as modern as I was wanting them to be. And so what I ended up doing was using the new color swatch that we got to those base game curtains with like the layered sheer curtain. For the longest time, we just had like bright, colorful patterns for like children's rooms, but now we have a plain white one. And so I use that one, and then I cover up the curtain rod with like this wall bar sort of thing that came with Get to Work. So you'll see that here in just a little bit, but it was very time consuming. I used the tool mod to make a lot of adjustments, and so I'll only show it once and then I'll cut the rest of them because it was so time consuming. Like I'm pretty sure it added like another 8 minutes to the speed build. So that means it took like an hour just to place the curtains because of course I do speed up my speed builds by like 650%. So I'm not sure exactly what that equals to, but yeah, it was a lot more time in the speed build. But anyways, these throw pillows are also from her living room set, and also that built-in unit that I put behind the couch, that is from her set, as well as the book decorations and the pampas grass plant decoration too. And so I was so excited to use all of those, and I really liked the built-in unit especially because it's super customizable, because she has like a couple of different pieces that you can place together, like the one with the open shelves and then the one with the archway that look like you could probably open up the cabinets to them. But I was excited to use them in this build just to create something that looked unique, and I don't know, I really like it. But anyways, here I'm creating the curtains like I was talking about. You can see I'm using the tool mod to make adjustments, and it was just a little bit time consuming. Of course, it's not that big of a deal, but throughout the entire build, it would have been extremely repetitive. So you'll see that I replaced them here in the living room too. I think the original curtains that I was using from City Living actually looked really nice. So if you prefer that look, I think it would be easy just to delete what I did and swap them out, and they would still look really nice. I just wanted to do something that looked a little bit more ultra modern. And so I think these curtains and those rods that I used gave it that effect. But here I'm placing the chairs with the dining table. The light that is above the dining table came from the industrial loft kit. I felt like the color swatch matched the items perfectly, and I was just, yeah, really excited to use it there. And the view, like I said, from the entryway looking past the dining table to the backyard swimming pool is so pretty. Here I'm placing some artwork in her latest set called Dawn Living. There's a couple of art pieces, which I was really excited about because up until this point, she didn't have any artwork to go along with her custom content. And so it was something that I was really looking for. Over here by the window, I placed a chess table and then also a statue. That statue came from the romantic garden kit, and I thought it was perfect. I really wanted to use the other one, but the other one of the female figure has flowers growing up it, and it just didn't quite match the build as much as that one. I really wish that the female figure one would have like a solid stone swatch too. I think that would have been perfect. I mean, the flowers are pretty, but it just didn't quite go with this build the way I wanted it to. But anyways, here is going to be the kitchen area. I haven't talked about the kitchen at all, but it's one of my favorite rooms in the entire build. There's skylights above the counters, the island. There's lots of light that comes in here. Also, the big windows let in a lot of light, and I like it a lot. And you also step down into it, so I use the platform tool to create a different level. And I just think it's so pretty. There's also some open shelves where I put some decorations, and I just really enjoyed decorating this room. And that's a trash can, by the way, that I just placed there on the wall. And so I felt like that was a bit more of like a modern style trash can. I have no idea where the trash drops down to because there's no basement or level for them to get to the trash. So maybe there's like some very high-tech modern system that goes through like the inside of the walls, like a plumbing system for trash possibly. We could pretend that, but I thought that was kind of nice to do. But yeah, over here, I felt like I needed something in the corner, something with a little bit of height. What I ended up doing was just placing this table and I put a statue on top of it. I just used the figure statue that came from base game. This one, it's not as big as I wanted it to be. I really wanted to use that other statue like I was talking about that came from the romantic garden pack, but the flowers, I just really felt like it didn't suit the build. I don't know, it just didn't feel as like clean and modern to me. So that's what I ended up doing. Here I'm adding some decorations to the kitchen, some functioning items like a microwave, the teapot. I use the teapot a lot recently, I realized. Way more than any of the coffee makers. I don't know why it is necessarily, I just like gravitate towards it more often, but I really like it. Here I'm adding some decorations to these open shelves, just trying to find kitchen related items. I'm also using some books and stuff to just clutter up the area. I was really trying to not make it feel messy, but I still wanted it to be fully decorated. Like I've mentioned before in modern builds, I really think too much clutter is like not necessary and it can get like too much quickly, I think. So I tried my best to make it feel fully decorated and like Sims actually live here, but not too cluttery. So yeah, hopefully I achieved that. Anyways, over here is going to be the entryway. In the entryway, I have a little bench here. I did size it down slightly, so I do need to check to make sure that this doesn't block the front door at all. But I felt like it was a bit too big and bulky the way it was originally, and I think it kind of blocked the entryway. But I think sized down, it looks a little bit better. And then over here, I'm using this wall hanging that came from one of my Shino-san's sets, and I just rotated it using the tool mod, and then I'm making some adjustments also using the tool mod to place it exactly where I want to. And I really was happy to be able to rotate it because it fit perfectly in that spot, and I really don't think there would be any artwork in The Sims 4 from base game or other packs that would have fit there as nicely. I don't know. I tried placing that wall hanging that came from Eco Lifestyle pack, but it definitely did not match the style of the build at all. It looked a lot more like silly and cartoony and too bulky, I think, for the style of the build. So yeah, I was happy to have that wall piece. And then over here is going to be the downstairs bathroom. So this is basically just like the entryway bathroom. So it's the bathroom that the Sims would use as they're going out the door or coming home, or just in like the main living area, or the one that guests would use. There's also another one upstairs, and then there's the ensuite to the master bedroom. So there's actually 3 bathrooms in this build. And so I was pretty happy about that because I think the more bathrooms you have, the more luxurious a home feels. I don't know, do you guys agree? But I was really trying to give this home like a very luxurious feel. Like I wanted it to feel like these Sims have a lot of money, they're very successful, and they're also young too, is what I imagined. I think they have a lot of success very young in their lives, very early on. Maybe they had a head start from some like inheritance or something. But I don't know, I don't necessarily feel that way. But I feel like that's easy to change the storyline depending on your exact Sims that you have living here. But that's kind of what I saw, was really young, successful Sims, like a very young, successful couple. And so yeah, anyways, over here I'm moving on to their ensuite bathroom. I put 2 showers in here. I thought that was pretty nice. There's also a really beautiful bathtub that comes in one of my Shino-san set. I didn't end up using it in this build, but it would work perfectly in here. But I felt like showers were a bit more modern, especially these ones that came from the Discover University pack, because they just fit so nicely into the wall, and then I could create sort of like a custom shower using them. And so I felt like that was pretty fancy, and I'm creating the custom shower piece here. I've seen a lot of people use these floor pieces that came from Island Living to create ceilings and walls, and so I wanted to do something here with that. It, I think, worked out really nicely, and the Sims don't see that they're here, so they actually walk through them to get to the shower, because I wasn't sure if this was going to work properly, but I did play test it, and the Sims can use the showers fine. The reason I was not really sure if they were going to be able to use it is because I placed a shelf on the wall on the other side, and I fill it with decorations, and so I wasn't sure if the Sims were going to be able to walk past it. But because they don't recognize the floor pieces as actually existing, then they just walk through them and they can use the showers just fine. So if that bothers you, then you could easily just delete them or put something else in their place. But I thought it actually looked really pretty. But yeah, here I'm placing that shelf like I was talking about. I just put a few decorations on it, and then over here I am creating another one of those custom curtain pieces. And so I showed this one because it didn't take any time at all. By this point I had gotten pretty good at it, although I don't show the ones upstairs because, again, that would just take too much time, and it was a lot of curtains. And then here I'm just decorating the bathroom, putting some clutter on the counters, just a few decorations just to make it feel lived in and decorated like I've been doing throughout the entire build. I also thought those base game towels matched the color scheme perfectly, and so I thought those looked really pretty. I also liked how they're mounted on pieces of wood, so I thought that looked pretty nice. And then over here is going to be the garage, and so I really had no idea what to do in the garage besides I knew I wanted to add a washer and dryer and some sort of like garage activity or garage decorations. I'm really hoping that at some point we get more garage items. I know a lot of people want cars in the game. I'm not too bothered by actually having functioning vehicles, but having clutter for a garage would be pretty nice. And so I just put a dartboard in here and a bicycle, and then there's the washer and dryer, and then these this rack with like a shovel and a pitchfork and stuff. And so I felt like that worked pretty nice. I do have these laundry baskets right here to the left of the washing machine, but I'm realizing here in just a moment right now that the door was blocked by the other one. So I just move the laundry baskets, and then yeah, that's pretty much it for the garage. And then over here, I wanted to have something behind the staircase. And so I just used these nice decorations that we got from the Snowy Escape pack to create sort of like an interesting wall art piece. I felt like it kind of looked like an art piece. I'm not sure if it exactly does, but I needed something to kind of break up the space, but I didn't think more artwork was the answer because I'd already used a lot of the same artwork already. And like I was saying earlier, I don't think there's any art pieces from the base game or other packs that would really suit this build as nicely. Like, we don't have a lot of like very modern art. I mean, we have a few pieces that can kind of work, but yeah, none that I was really wanting to use. But anyways, over here is going to be that office space like I was talking about. So if you really want this home to be for a family, you could easily close off this room to be another bedroom. Of course, they would have their own balcony, which would be pretty fancy, but I imagine the Sims that live here have a lot of clients that come to their home and they talk to them here, and then they host lots of parties, and I think they're really focused on entertaining and having like dinner parties and those sorts of things. And so I tried designing the house around that idea, and I think it works. But anyways, here I'm just adding a few extra decorations in the bedroom. I realized that I wanted some extra clutter on the bedside table, so I placed some suitcases and some books. So it's nice simple decorations, but I think it adds more to that lived in feel. And then here I'm just adding some clutter decorations to the desk. I'm also placing the computer on another desk because I realized that this one, the computer kind of hangs off of it slightly, and this is a CC computer, and that's a desk by her as well, but for some reason they just don't line up properly. And so I just placed the computer on another desk, and then I snapped the chair to that one and then scaled it down using the tool mod. So you can't actually see it, but I wanted to use that desk, and so I made it work. And then here is going to be another bathroom in the build. It's kind of like a Jack and Jill bathroom in between the office and the art studio, and so I felt like this worked really nicely, and that way the Sims could get to the bathroom really easily if they're working. And the house is pretty much designed around that function, like hosting parties, working, and those sorts of things. And so I think it works for those. Over here is going to be the balcony just off of the office space, and here I just placed a outdoor dining table and a couple more of these palm trees, and instead of using the platform tool to create the planter boxes, I used some planter boxes that came from my Shuno Sun, and then the dining set is all from my Shuno Sun except for the dining table, but the chairs and the rug is from her, and the decorations on top of the table are not. But yeah, over here is going to be that art studio that I was talking about. Every single build that I've done so far using my Shuno Sun's CC has been for Art Sims because she has an amazing art set with these easels and some custom canvases and a canvas rack and paintbrushes and paints and just really nice paint related decorations. And so I just had to do another one using her CC for some artists. So yeah, probably the next time I use her custom content, I'll try to focus on maybe a different career or something like that, but I just had to use it. But anyways, this pretty wall hanging came from her set right before the Dawn Living, which is like a nursery sort of set. And so I just had to use something from that set because I don't think I really used anything because obviously it's more kids related, but yeah, I felt like that one worked. I also used the hanging chair from that set too in here, but yeah, here I'm just trying to create like a workspace. I'm trying to make it look a little bit messy because obviously this is more of like a functional space rather than like a space where you would have guests and stuff. And so I tried making it look like that. I also put another desk in here where I placed the drawing tablet and a few sort of decorations. I'm just trying to shuffle things around, trying to make the room feel like balanced and like everything has its proper spot. Like I didn't want things to feel out of place, but I did want it to feel a little bit messy and a little bit more chaotic than the rest of the build. I also really liked using these base game drawings as decorations in here. I felt like these were nice like sketches to have on the wall, things that the Sims were using maybe as reference or kind of like sketching out ideas for their paintings and stuff. And then I just put some books and a few decorations over here, and then that drawing tablet like I mentioned. And I'm really happy with the way this room turned out. I think it's super cute, and yeah, I don't know, I think it looks really nice. But here I'm moving on to the exterior, finally going to work on the landscaping. I really wanted to add this structure piece. It came from one of her sets as well, but it didn't quite fit in here. I felt like it was just a bit too big for the space. I also wanted to include a hot tub, but I just didn't think it really fit in anywhere properly. And so I ended up not including it, but it's definitely something you could place if you felt like it was another activity you wanted your Sims to have. So I just placed a bench here on the back patio, somewhere for them to eat, and then these chairs came from Eco Lifestyle, and I placed them next to the pool, just nice lounge chairs. And then I placed a floaty in the pool, just this one that's nice and simple in the white color. And then I'm finally going to work on the landscaping. Like I said, the landscaping was something I had like no idea how I was going to approach. I didn't know like if I wanted to use hedges or which hedges I wanted to use. I ended up actually using some that are a bit bushier than what I was originally placing. I tried a few different options, and I don't know. It took me a while to get there. I really just have no idea how to approach this type of landscaping. I see some people do it and it looks so clean and simple, and then I go to try to do it myself and I'm like, I don't know how to make this look like actually work. But I placed a few trees around. I end up just leaving like a couple of them and not having so many. I felt like that looked a little bit better. And then I tried using these hedges because I thought they look, really well manicured. They would look really nice and modern. I also have a couple of palm trees. I keep the palm trees, but I get rid of these hedges. They just looked kind of boring in my opinion. I don't know. I didn't like them at all once I started placing them. I tried my best though. I tried, adding more of them, and I was like, maybe I'll just get used to them, but that did not happen. So I replaced them with these hedges instead. I placed a few of them just like on the edges of the lot, and then once I placed them I realized that I just like the look of them better, I like the color of them better, and so I get rid of the more manicured hedges and replace them, and I think that was a much better decision. And then I just have some other greenery. I don't think I have any flowers really, so yeah, I still think it's a nice like clean, simple landscaping, but it's a bit more overgrown than I had originally imagined. So hopefully you guys will like it, and hopefully you guys will like the way the build turned out. Again, don't forget to check out the description box for the information on NordVPN. And again, thank you so much to NordVPN for sponsoring this video. Here I'm just placing a couple of planter boxes and finishing up the landscaping, and then this is it for the build. So hopefully you guys have enjoyed this one, and hopefully you guys enjoy the screenshots. So again, thank you so much for watching, and please leave any comments or suggestions you have, and I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye!
Just where it was needed, gleaming black as night, cloistered in injustice, dead in the eye of time. Nobody is losing, faces merge and change, but your face remains the same. Swallows will be here by dawn. When we're finally sober, they'll be gone. The trees will bloom and ice will melt. We'll always remember how it felt. when we're finally sober.